Hello, everyone, and welcome to another webinar presented by Plexuss. My name's Chris, and I'll be hosting the webinar today. I'm here with Charlie Wilkerson. He's representative from Tennessee Technological University, and he'll be covering a little bit more about what Tennessee Tech has to offer and what the process is for admissions there, and this information will apply somewhat generally to other colleges and universities in the US. So the format of the webinar today will be me quickly going over the Plexuss platform and showing you some recommendations I have for being successful as a student on Plexuss. Then I'll pass it over to Charlie for some more information about TTU. And finally, after Charlie's presentation, we will go over some question and answers that you have. We'll have Charlie answer any questions that you post in the YouTube chat. So if you're watching this on the Plexuss homepage, feel free to open up the YouTube video in the youtube.com and post your questions in the YouTube chat. If you're watching the video on YouTube, feel free to post your questions in chat on the right side of the video. We'll be answering questions at the end of the webinar. So make sure to stick around and wait for Charlie to answer those at the end. If you do enjoy the content of the webinar, make sure you click the like button to support the webinars in the future. And if you want to see and get updates on all the webinars that we're hosting over the next year, make sure to subscribe to the Plexuss channel. So now I'll go ahead and jump into the Plexuss website. I'm signed into my student account here, and we can see them on the Plexuss homepage, and this is where you'll start when you sign in. So there's some information on the Plexuss homepage here that is really helpful for understanding how the website works and how you as a student can get in contact with schools. So I recommend going to this Get Started link and checking out these videos that are going to give you some more information on exactly what we do here and how you can engage with colleges as a student. The next section here is a Find a College option. This is where you can search for different colleges that you're interested in, dependent on tuition, fees, acceptance rate, test scores, all these different categories. You have options to look for schools that match for you as a student. There's chat, so we can see that there's members that are chatting currently. You can go ahead and message any of these members that are member colleges that are online at any time that you're available, and you can have a chat session with them. I know that Charlie does take advantage of this feature as well, so he'll be able to chat with you next time you see him online. And you can also battle schools, so you can compare different schools that you're interested in and see which ones are a best fit for you. But once you're done going through these categories and seeing how you can use the platform, go ahead and jump into your home page here by clicking on this link up top. This is going to show you a bunch of information about just generally a snapshot of what's going on your profile. So you can see the number of colleges that want to recruit you, the number of colleges that have viewed your profile, and the number of colleges that are we recommend for you as a best fit. So lists can be found in your portal section. So if I was going to click on the number of colleges that want to recruit me, it's going to take me to my portal, and it's going to jump me to the schools that want to recruit me section. So I can see that Point University, Georgia Southern, Indiana State, etc. All these schools have expressed interest in my profile based upon what kind of student they're looking for. So because I fit their interest, they've sent me a request to be recruited. So if I'm interested in being recruited by Point University, I just go ahead and click on that yes button, and they're going to move into a handshake. So once I move into a handshake with a school, I can send them direct messages, and we can talk about the admissions process and what information I need to eventually be enrolled at these schools. So if I was interested in asking the University of Arkansas what the admissions process was, or how do I apply, or whatever questions I might have, I can go ahead and click on that envelope there, and it's going to start a new thread with the University of Arkansas, and I can go ahead and send them a message. And a representative from the University of Arkansas will respond to me and let me know more information about the school. And for schools to reach out to you, they're going to have some information about you. So the best way to give schools as much information as you can is to go and open up this profile section and add as much information about yourself as you can. So you can see here I've entered my name, my Skype information, phone number, my address. I have objective information about which type of degree I'm interested in. I can go ahead and edit any of these sections by clicking on this edit link at the top. This third section here, financial information, is very important for schools to understand if you have the ability to pay for tuition and living expenses at the university or college you're interested in. So go ahead and select which range of finances you have the ability to spend for school, and we request that you upload a document with some evidence of the ability you have to spend that much on education, and that's going to really help escalate your ability to get recruited by schools on Plexuss if you do upload financial documents. You can upload any documents in this section that you're interested in doing and uploading. So you can upload your transcript, financial documents, resume, cover letter, portfolio, whatever you're interested in adding to your profile to bolster what schools see about you. Go ahead and do that here. Finally, there's a score section. I recommend keeping these scores up to date, adding any new test scores that you take as you take them. If you take the TOEFL score or ACT, SAT, make sure to add them here. And again, you can edit these scores by clicking up on, and you can add other experience, skills, etc. We're going to be adding these to your profile soon, so make sure you add any extra things that you'd like schools to know about you. As something we're doing new for students is if you decide to upgrade to a Premier account, you have access to essays that students have written to use them to apply to different schools that you're interested in, and you'll be able to see those student essays as examples to guide you in writing your own essays. So that'll be helpful, and we're just going to be giving these out to a few students to see how what you can get out of the essays from other students that have been admitted to universities that you've taken an interest in on Plexuss. So that's the majority of what I have to cover today. If you have any questions, feel free to post them again in the chat. Make sure to click on the like button if you are enjoying the video. And now I'm going to pass it over to Charlie, who can take it from here.
All right. Chris, can you hear me now?
Yep, I got you loud and clear.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Charlie Wilkerson. I'm the Director of International Education at Tennessee Tech University. My primary responsibility is for undergraduate applicants, specifically international undergraduate applicants. Please take a look at our slideshow that I put together for you. And on the first slide here, you can see who do I contact. Since we have applicants who are international undergraduate students or graduate students or even American students, I wanted to make sure you had the contacts for all three areas. And they will be able to, if you have any questions specifically for those areas, you can contact them directly. International undergraduate students can communicate with me at no problem. I want to give you a little bit of information about the state of Tennessee. Many students are not familiar with Tennessee. They may have seen some of our products. One of the most popular products from the state of Tennessee, which is internationally known, is the alcohol called Jack Daniels. I'm always surprised when I go to many countries that students are familiar with Jack Daniels, and that's a very common product of Tennessee. You know, more famously known as Tennessee whiskey. So Tennessee is the 17th largest state. We have 8 interstate highways, and you'll be surprised. Students who study here always comment on the convenience of living in Tennessee because we connect pretty much to all the states, and students can pretty much drive anywhere. We also have an airport here in Tennessee. The Nashville International Airport can take a student to pretty much anywhere, and that's the airport students access the university. Tennessee has one of the largest automobile industries in the United States outside of Michigan and California. Tennessee is the 3rd largest automobile industry, and the headquarters for Volkswagen and the headquarters for Nissan are in the state of Tennessee. So a lot of our students, once they graduate, or if they have an internship plan, they go work for some of these companies. We have over 800 foreign companies working in Tennessee from 34 different countries. And in 7 years, Tennessee has generated over 184,000 jobs. So if students plan to do any work in the United States upon graduation, as you know, students, when they graduate, they can work. Tennessee is a good state for you. And as far as all the states in America, Tennessee has the second lowest cost of living in the United States. So if you have a budget, we can definitely accommodate you. I moved to Tennessee from California, and I was really surprised at the cost of living here. A little bit about Cookeville. Tennessee Tech is located in a city called Cookeville, Tennessee. The city is a college town with 31,000 residents. We're 1 hour east of Nashville and about an hour and a half west of Knoxville. We are about 3 hours north of Atlanta, Georgia. As far as the city goes, the city is the 7th most affordable city to live in the United States. And like I mentioned, I moved here from California, and the rent is about 1/8 of what I paid in California. So it's amazing the cost of living here. This is a picture of our campus. As you can see, there's lots of cars. Having an automobile is convenient to live in the United States. So if you know how to drive, that will be very convenient. Cars are affordable in the United States, and to get a driver's license is not that complicated compared to some countries. A little about our statistics at Tennessee Tech. We have 10,900 students total. 9,800 are undergraduate, about 1,100 are graduate students. At the moment, we have 769 international students, and we have students from over 60 different countries. Tennessee Tech has a very high retention rate. 92% of our students are retained from fall to spring semester, and 75% of our students return for the next semester after they start the first year. And many of our 85% of the basic engineering students return for the second year. Basic engineering is the most popular major since students start in the basic engineering category, and then in the first 2 years, and then in the third and the fourth year, they go into their focus of chemical or civil. And the basic engineering is our most popular major with our international students. A common question I get asked is where are our students from? And you can see our most common nationality is Kuwait and Saudi Arabia. We have quite a few students from India and China, United Arab Emirates, South Korea, Japan and Nigeria, Iran, and Bangladesh and Nepal. Those are the most common nationalities we have at Tennessee Tech. And on the same slide, you can see where Tennessee is located in reference to the whole United States. I get a lot of questions about ranking. Many students are curious about this, and as you know, in the United States, there is no common organization which does rankings. There's various rankings all over the United States. There is the U.S. News and World Report, which does an annual ranking, and Tennessee Tech is now a national university. We are ranked 220 in the United States, which is this is our first year being a national ranked school, and we're very excited about that. Last year, we were considered a regional school, and we were number 34 in the South last year. But now we're a national school, which means we welcome students from all over the United States and all over the world. And so we're now ranked nationally as 220. Majors-wise, all Tennessee Tech majors are accredited. The engineering program is accredited by ABET. If you're going to be studying engineering, that is very important. If you get a degree that is from a university that is ABET accredited, you can use that degree pretty much anywhere in the world. Also, our College of Business is AACSB accredited, and this is also in the same thing, very important in finding a job. Some countries, if the program is not accredited by AACSB or ABET, the degree is pretty much not accepted. So make sure you check to see if a program is accredited. And this slide is, these are famous people from Tennessee. The most famous person from this area is Megan Fox, who's up in the upper right corner, and she lives in the nearby, and students have actually seen her in town. Now I want to mention undergraduate admissions. Our undergraduate admissions requirements are pretty flexible. For the ACT, we require a 17 on the English part. If you have an ACT of 17 on the English part, you do not need to submit a TOEFL score. But many students, of course, have a TOEFL score. For the TOEFL score, we require 61, and for the ELTS, a 5.5. For the SAT, for the critical reading part, we require a 460. And we also, by the way, accept the A-levels from Cambridge for English and literature. And we also give credits for the A-levels and the IB credits, International Baccalaureate credits. Most majors at Tennessee Tech require a minimum GPA of a 2.5 as a freshman, but some majors like nursing and engineering require a higher GPA of a 3.0. So please take that into consideration. Every university may have varying GPA requirements. Most transfer students have to have a minimum 2.0 GPA to enter the university. If your GPA is below a 2.0, most universities will not accept you. Now I want to talk about some general things about studying abroad. For example, the application cycle. Most students do not realize, the United States, the application cycle is different. For example, most schools will accept students in the fall semester and in the spring semester. But make sure the university you're interested in will accept students in the spring semester. For example, I know some universities will not accept new students in the spring semester. Tennessee Tech will accept students. Also, you need to make sure you know what tests are required. Some universities will only require the ACT or SAT and will not require the TOEFL. Some universities will require the ACT or SAT as an optional test, but they will require the TOEFL test or the ELTS test. So you make sure you communicate with the university that you're interested to make sure that you have the admissions requirements. There's nothing sadder than being denied because you don't meet the admissions criteria because you didn't have the scores or take the proper examinations. Also, essays. I see a lot of essays every day, and every university has different requirements on the essay. For example, at my university, we do encourage an essay. It's not required. It is optional. But if a student sends me a 10-page essay, I usually only read page 1. So please do not, it's not necessary to write a 10-page novel. Most university administrators or admissions counselors are very busy. And so, I would always recommend do not do more than 2 pages on your essay. Also, it's very important to keep an eye on the deadlines. Our Tennessee Tech's graduate studies program for graduate students is very, very strict on the deadline. For example, the deadline for fall 2017 is April the 1st. If you apply April the 2nd, your application is considered for spring. They will not consider your application for fall if you're 1 day late. So make sure you respect the deadlines. For undergraduate admissions, we have a rolling deadline, which means students can apply continuously. So these are some different stances on the deadlines. For example, there's different chances like early admissions. That's usually done in November. So some schools will do early admissions. Regular admissions is usually by January the 1st. Flexible admissions means there is no deadline. Or rolling admissions, that means there's no deadline like my university. Remember, because you're an international student, you need to have time to get a visa. So, for example, if a student applied today and told me, oh, I want to come to Tennessee Tech for spring, which starts in January, you may not have time to get the visa. So make sure you take that into consideration. Most countries, it will take 3 to 6 months to get a visa. Typical application requirements. This is a question I get probably 100 times a day. And for example, for application we do may include a personal essay, like I mentioned before. We always want to see your academic records, your grades, your marks, your leaving certificate, if you will. If you have A-levels or the IGCSE or IB credits, we want to see those. We have to see those requirements. Most schools, it is mandatory that you submit all your grades. Letter of recommendation is also encouraged. It is sometimes optional. For example, my school, it is optional. Standardized test results, if required, are necessary. Like, for example, at Tennessee Tech, you can submit either the ACT or SAT, or you can submit the ELTS score or the TOEFL score, either or. We have admitted students with only an ELTS score. That is possible. Some additional materials may be required. This varies by the university, from recommendation letters to a portfolio to volunteer experience. It depends on how competitive your university is. I have some colleagues who work at some very, very competitive universities, and they will require a portfolio. You need to make sure you communicate with your university. Also, for graduate students, they usually will require a CV or a resume. The U.S. College admissions process is very, very unique. It's different. So, for example, sometimes there are some schools that have no entry examinations. For example, to come to Tennessee Tech, there is no entry examination. In some countries, it is required there is an entry examination. There is no specific academic grade is required for admissions. Mostly community colleges. So, if you plan to do a community college, there may not be any GPA requirement. Admissions is more of a subjective process in some schools. So please take that into consideration. And more than academic success is considered. So, for example, in some of our majors in graduate studies, not only do they look at your grades, but if you've been working, they may look at what your experience is where you've worked. U.S. colleges admit a range of students from the superstar to just an average okay student. So if you're just an okay student, there is a place for you in the United States. There's always a chance for you to get in. So don't give up. Student decision types may range. So these are some typical admissions types. The most common one is a student is admitted. If you apply and you get referred to the department, that means the university admissions staff do not feel they can make a decision on your application, and they're going to ask the department to make that decision. So mostly this is most common with graduate students. Sometimes you will get admissions that says we're waiting for your test scores, which means you send the school a message and say, hey, I need the status of my application, and they will respond to you, we're waiting for your test scores. Another answer could be waiting for final grades. If you're transferring from another college to another college, they usually will want to wait to see your final grades from your previous college. I have right now at the moment for the spring semester, I have 22 students. I'm waiting to see their final grades from community college. And once we get those grades, we will make the decision. The decision of denial is usually related to grades and test scores. So for example, our TOEFL test score requirement is a 61. If I have a student who applies and they have a test score on the TOEFL of a 45, I will have to deny that student. Or a student says, oh, I want to study engineering, and their GPA is a 2.0, and the requirement is a 3.0, the student will get a denial. These criteria are very strict and are not flexible. Now, that doesn't mean you're done. For example, at Tennessee Tech, if a student wants to study engineering and they have a 2.0, the student can study another major that doesn't require a 3.0. So for example, we have a general education major, which is kind of an undeclared major. Students can start that major at a 2.0, study there in that major for 1 year, take courses, and then if they can maintain a 3.0 GPA, transfer into the engineering major. So you can always change your major. Financing. If you're going to study in the United States, money is very important. As you may be aware, there are very few institutions in the United States that offer any kind of full scholarship. This is very common in Europe. In the United States, it is not common at all. There's very, very few full scholarships. I would say maybe 1%. The main source of financing students, usually the main source of financing is their own money. So if you do not have funds to study abroad, your chances are very minimal. So make sure you look at your finances when you're considering studying abroad. So the main sources of financing that we usually see are funding from your parents, or funding or students' own funds. I've had some students who worked and saved up their money, and their providing me a bank document showing they have the funds to study abroad. Also, for American students, they can also apply for state financial aid. That's specifically for American students, and federal financial aid, which is open to United States students. Remember, United States students are the only ones who can get financial aid in the United States. And remember, the U.S. Embassy often issues the visa based on the student's grades, and they will review your finances. So if you go to get a U.S. visa, and you may have a 4.0 or a perfect GPA, but if you do not have the finances, they may deny your visa request. That is the most common reason for denial. Now, financing your education. Federal financial aid is available to U.S. students and green card holders, but remember, it's not available for international students. Financing available to non-international students can be students' own funds, a university scholarship. That means a partial scholarship, maybe 20%, 30%. Sometimes you can get up to 50%, but very rare. But some universities do offer scholarships to international students. Graduate students can get a graduate assistantship. The graduate assistantship in these cases usually will help pay for a student's tuition. Also, some countries have scholarships from their government, which will help pay and finance their education. So you might want to check with your own Ministry of Education to see if there's any scholarships available. For example, I know in Malaysia, there's lots of opportunities for scholarships to study abroad. I know in Taiwan, they offer scholarships for graduate students. I know in many of the countries in the Gulf, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, United Arab Emirates, Oman, Bahrain, there's also funding available for students to study abroad. And so next topic is university support. Now, this is when a university offers scholarships and the kinds of scholarships. So the two main types are need-based scholarships. These are for students who need to show they have proof of financial needs. So you would have to show a document that shows that you don't have enough financing to go study. Also merit-based, usually based on your grades. So if your grades are not good, there's no way you can qualify for this. So you'd have to show that you have good grades. And again, there are no full scholarships available in the U.S., with the exception of a superstar athlete or a music talent. The music department, sometimes if they can find a really, really good musician, they might offer a full scholarship for a superstar musician, or a 7-foot-tall basketball player typically can get a full scholarship. But athletics and music are pretty much the only exceptions to that rule. Need-based scholarships do not depend on your academic grades. So if you're able to get a need-based scholarship, they will not look at your grades. They will look at your need. But again, merit-based scholarships are specifically looking at your grades. They're going to see how well you're doing. And these are the criteria for the scholarships at Tennessee Tech. We have a merit scholarship, which pays 55% of the out-of-state tuition, which is about $4,300. And we also have a multinational scholarship, which is $1,000 per semester. And we have an alumni legacy scholarship, which pays $500 a semester. Considering Tennessee Tech's tuition is $11,448, this would cover almost half of this tuition, about almost 50% of the tuition. So it is helpful if financing is an issue. But again, there is no full scholarships. Now, I often have students suggest to me, "Oh, well, let me come to your university and I can work on campus." And working on campus is an option. But remember, if the tuition is $11,000 a semester, and you're going to be able to work 20 hours a week at $7 an hour, that's $140 a week. If there's 15 weeks in a semester, you can never work enough to pay your tuition. You would still owe about $9,000. So working on campus cannot pay for your tuition. Working on campus might just be supplemental income, supplemental money that you can use to pay for your tuition. Also, Tennessee Tech has the Honors College Scholarship. Now, the Honors College Scholarship requires the students to have an ACT or SAT. And the criteria is listed here on the screen. For example, the student has to have 1170 on the SAT or a 26 on the ACT, and you must have a 3.5 or above GPA. If a student is eligible to get this scholarship, the scholarship's $16,000 a year. Tuition's about $23,000. $16,000 will cover more than 75% of the tuition. So if you've not planned to take an ACT or SAT, and you're interested in coming to Tennessee Tech, and you're an undergraduate student, this is not for graduate students, sorry. This is your best option. So I recommend you go take the ACT or SAT, or take an ACT or SAT class and study up on the ACT or SAT. And I highly recommend the honors scholarship and the honors program. And students who graduate from Tennessee Tech who participate in the honors program will get a degree, an honors diploma. So their diploma will not only be a bachelor's degree, they will have a bachelor's degree in honors, which is very impressive for many employers. This screen highlights some of our popular majors. As you can see, mostly it's our engineering majors are very popular. Chemical engineering is very, very popular. Electrical and computer engineering. Tennessee Tech is one of the few universities in America that has computer engineering. Manufacturing, engineering technology, mechanical engineering. We also have mechatronics. We have computer science. Cybersecurity is a new major in computer science. We have biology, many facets in biology. We also have marine biology. In the College of Business, we offer accounting, business management, production and operations management, economics, finance, international business. There's a link on the slide here with all the majors, and please send us an email and I can send you a list of all the majors or a brochure. Referring to this slide, as you can see, there's a picture of an astronaut there, Mr. Barry Wilmore. Astronaut Barry Wilmore is an alumni of Tennessee Tech and actually has been to space several times. And he studied at Tennessee Tech and did his bachelor's degree in electrical engineering at Tennessee Tech. Tennessee Tech also has a special program that some students have found to be very attractive. It's called the Fast Track program. And the Fast Track program is designed to enable an undergraduate student to, in their senior year, to take up to 6 to 9 credit hours of graduate work while still pursuing their undergraduate degree. So during the student's last year of college, which is typically 4 years, they could be starting to take courses in graduate studies. And I've actually had students graduate with a bachelor's degree and a master's degree in 5 years because they started the Fast Track program. So you can see there's a list of majors there that actually offer this option. And I've actually had this recently 2 students from Malaysia who graduated in less than 5 years in chemical engineering, and they were able to find a job very quickly. Another point about Tennessee Tech is we have several special centers on our campus. We have a arboretum for botany, ecology, fishery, florist. We also have the Tennessee Cooperative Fishery Research Unit. We also have a weather station. We have an agriculture pavilion. We have a tech farm. We have the Heidelberg's Agriculture Pavilion. We also have a child development lab, so if you're interested in child life and studies. And we also have an Appalachia Center for Crafts. So if you're interested in art, we have a satellite branch just for the Crafts Center. And it's like a village just for doing art. So many of the artists really enjoy it. One of the common questions I get asked from students when I'm recruiting abroad is, where will I live? And these are the 3 most common options. On campus, many students prefer to live on campus, but you got to remember sometimes the living on campus can be a little bit more expensive than living off campus. For Tennessee Tech, living off campus is much cheaper than living on campus. The cheapest dorm on campus is about $2,500 a semester. The most expensive dormitory is about $3,700 a semester. If you got your own one-bedroom apartment off campus, you might be able to do that for probably about half that price. So to live off campus is actually cheaper in this area. But in some cities like San Francisco or New York, to live in the dormitories actually might be cheaper. So you might want to verify that with the school that you're planning to attend to see about the cost. Another option is living off campus, renting an apartment or a room in a house with roommates. In some more larger cities, they have something called residence clubs, and a residence club is like temporary housing. And like, for example, in New York and San Francisco, I believe Boston and Los Angeles also have this. Residence club is common. Another option is the homestay, and this is you would live with a family. Usually in the price of whatever they're charging you will include food. And if the home is not close to the campus, sometimes they will even provide transportation. Now, always verify if you're going to do a homestay. Please verify. I recommend you always verify about what it's covering, if it's covering food or not, or also the location, if the location is convenient, and if the location is not convenient, you need to make sure you verify they will be providing you transportation or not. At Tennessee Tech, we have many options. We have over 17 dormitories, and these are some pictures of our real dormitories. And students who live on campus, you typically get a meal plan, and these are the prices of the meal plans. And as you can see, they range from 7 meals a week to 19 meals a week. Those meals do not carry over, so you're required to use those meals during that week. So men, for example, usually typically get the 15 or 19 meal plan, and I've noticed a lot of the girls will get the between the 7 and the 15 meal plan. But the thing is, remember, if during that week, if you don't eat those 15 meals, you do not get to carry them over. So you need to keep that in mind. If you are someone who eats a lot, I definitely recommend the 19 meals because it's actually very, very it's worth the money. Student life. Students who live on campus, students who particularly live on campus will have access to a lot of organizations. Students who live off campus also can participate in organizations, but oftentimes I've noticed students who live off campus are not as active on campus as they are their counterparts who live on campus. These are pictures of and faculty participating in on-campus activities. For example, we have some international organizations at the university. We have a Muslim student organization, we have a Chinese student association, we have an Indian association, and we have a Saudi club. We also have some other clubs that are international focused. For example, we have the International Friends Club. This is a club where American families will international student, and the student will do activities with the American family. As you can see in these pictures, these are international students interacting with their homestays. I mean, the International Friends family. Now, remember, this is not a homestay. They are not living with these families. These families are just primarily interacting with them, inviting them over for dinner, going and doing activities with them. Last week, the United States, we had Thanksgiving, and I know some of the International Friends invited some of the students to their house for dinner for Thanksgiving. Also, we have clubs called Intramurals, and all students can participate in intramurals. The intramurals range from soccer to frisbee to dodgeball to cardio to swimming, many different kinds of activities that are sports related. So if you enjoy these kinds of activities, I know a lot. The soccer intramural is very popular. They have a tournament every year, and usually half of the teams are international. One thing that Tennessee Tech, which is very special, is our buddy program. Every international student is paired with an American student. So every international student has an American buddy. And I've had students ask me, well, why is that important? When you first come to America, when you're a new student in America, many students are very lonely, and sometimes they can get homesick. Having this buddy is so, because this buddy is kind of your friend to you, and many of the buddies take this responsibility very seriously, and many of the international students have told me the buddies have become lifelong friends to them. And I know for a fact We started this program 5 years ago, and I know for a fact many of the buddies are still keeping in touch with each other. Careers. One of our things that we're very, very proud of at Tennessee Tech is our career building. We actually help students find jobs, do internships, do co-ops. You may have heard international students are not allowed to work. International students are allowed to work on campus 20 hours per week. Also, if a student through their department is able to get an internship or a co-op, a student may work with permission from the university at a co-op for a paid or an unpaid internship. So if you know people that are working in the United States, probably they're taking part in some kind of co-op or internship program. And these are some examples of some internships some of our students have taken part in. Nissan, Bridgestone, Alcoa. Alcoa is the largest, one of the largest producers of aluminum in the United States. Cummins is the owner of a Rolls-Royce. Roper, and these are just some students where students have done internships. And that's it.
Great. Thank you, Charlie. That was a great presentation. Really interesting stuff. If anybody has any questions, feel free to post them in the chat on the right side of the YouTube video, and Charlie can go ahead and answer those. We did have a couple during the presentation that I wanted to ask you. So one student asked, are there any students from Uzbekistan that go to Tennessee Tech?
Yes, we have a few. I believe at the moment we have one student from Uzbekistan here at the moment. We have some students from Kazakhstan, Russia as well. I do believe we have one student from Uzbekistan at the moment, but I have many alumni from Uzbekistan as well. So if I can get you in touch with that student, I can get that student in touch with those students if they want. They can send me an email, and my email is cwilkerson@tentech.edu.
Yeah, if you want to pull up your contact information again. Oh, there you go. I can post that up there.
I got that slide. I got that slide up. I'm not sure if it's showing.
Yeah, it should be showing now. So the way, so I got another question. I know you went over this briefly, but for the test scores, they're wondering if those can be waived, or if you don't have to take a test score if you have a high TOEFL score, for example. So what are the absolutely necessary scores, and where's the kind of breathing room there?
Well, as mentioned, students can do either or. So if a student has a high ELT score, and they wouldn't need the ACT or SAT. But what I was emphasizing about the ACT or SAT is if a students want to get a high scholarship, that's the best. If they're needing a scholarship and they want to get a substantial scholarship, the ACT or SAT are required. If they're only concerned about admissions, a high ELT score of anything above a 5.5 or 6 is very good.
Okay. And we had a good number of questions just about majors that are offered, and you can find that information as a student on the Tennessee Tech school page. There's a link to that school page in the description of the video. But I wanted you to go over again just briefly if the focus of Tennessee Tech in terms of what type of courses you offer.
We have 7 colleges. We have a College of Engineering, College of Business, College of Arts and Sciences, College of Education, College of Agriculture and Human Ecology, and a College of Interdisciplinary Studies. The most common, actually the major that has the most students in it, believe it or not, is the College of Education. It's our most popular major. And we have pretty much everything from secondary ed to elementary ed to special ed. For engineering, we have civil engineering, chemical engineering, biomolecular engineering, mechatronics engineering, civil engineering, electrical engineering, computer engineering, power systems engineering. I think I saw someone ask the question about pharmaceutical engineering. We do not have that major, but it's very similar to biomolecular engineering. So there may be some facets in that major that are similar. in College of Business, we have accounting, economics, marketing, finance, international business, business management, production management, human resources management, general management, and I think I mentioned international business. But the most popular major in business is general management or business management. Those are very popular. In arts and sciences, biology, chemistry, physics, mathematics are very, very popular. But we also have sociology, psychology, history, geography, geology, information systems. In agriculture, we have from agriculture engineering to animal science to pre-veterinarian to agronomics, agricultural communications, agricultural business. In human ecology, we have dietetics, nutrition, child life, child studies, family studies, human ecology, food management, food production management. I'm doing these off the top of my head. In interdisciplinary studies, the interdisciplinary studies major is where students can pretty much make their own major, and the students would focus on two areas. The most popular area that in interdisciplinary studies is our environmental science and sustainability major, and students will study. It's pretty much a mixture of engineering, science, and agriculture.
Great. So you do, as you can tell, you offer a lot of different courses. And
yeah, we are a comprehensive university, which means we have more than 60 majors and 120 concentrations.
Awesome. And I have a question here from Aziza. In terms of, she's asking, how do I search for universities? How do I know which universities would be right for me? Where do I start, and how to get not confused? I recommend going on plexuscom and checking out the tools we have for searching for different universities and colleges on the platform. There's a lot of different tools you can use. Using the Find a College option is the best place to start. We also recommend schools to you based on your profile, so filling out as much information as you can on your Plexuss profile will help us give you better recommendations. So we can help you with that process on our website. Just feel free to go ahead and add as much information as you can to your profile. If you want to get recruited by Tennessee Tech, there's a link to the Plexuss school page that you can visit in the description of this video. Go ahead and click on the Get Recruited button on that page, and that'll send a message to Charlie and his staff, notifying them that you're interested in being recruited by Tennessee Tech. And at that point, you can have a conversation about the process from there.
We're also often in the chat room. We're often in the chat room, so.
Yeah, so that'll show up on the homepage of plexus.com. If you have the chance, feel free to send Tennessee Tech a direct message through the chat. And there's another question here asking, what are the best states for international students to live in the U.S.? If you have a recommendation.
Well, that's kind of subjective, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Or it depends on if they're looking for somewhere cheap or if they're looking for somewhere with lots of activities. It just depends on what the student's looking for. If you're wanting somewhere affordable, like doesn't cost a lot, I would recommend living in the South. The cost of living in the South is a lot cheaper than other parts of the United States. If you're wanting to live somewhere where they have lots of activities and, want to go to a concert every week or have parties, of course, the urban places are the most, it all depends on what the student is looking for. Also, I've had students say, oh, I want to live where there's lots of people from my country. Sometimes that information is usually available online. I had a student from China point blank to ask me how many Chinese live in Tennessee. Well, there's not a lot of Chinese in Tennessee. So I was very honest. I said, unfortunately, there's not a lot of Chinese in Tennessee. So the student said, well, I know there's lots of Chinese in New York. And I said, yeah, there's lots of Chinese. So it depends on what the student's looking for, actually.
Mm-hmm, definitely. And like I said, again, there's a lot of information on Plexuss, different articles about different schools that you have the option to get in contact with. So definitely take advantage of that. And final question, I just wanted to ask you, what sets Tennessee Tech apart from other universities in the U.S.? What is really the draw for international students to attend?
The three big reasons students have picked us over other places, like I mentioned, we have right now about 800 international students. And if you ask those 800 students, why did they pick Tennessee Tech? Most of them will say they came to Tech because of our majors. We offer the majors they're looking for. Like I mentioned, computer science and computer engineering are very, very popular majors here. And the students who graduate in those fields at Tennessee Tech, 99% of them have 20 job offers before they graduate. So you can imagine that's a very powerful sales motive for students to want to come here. Another thing is, I've had students tell me, when I meet a lot of students when I recruit abroad, and students will say, I'm on a budget. How much? I know my cousin's paying a lot of money to live in Boston. I know my cousin's living in DC and spending a lot of money on housing and stuff. The cost of living in Tennessee is very, very cheap. And if you have a budget, your money will last a long time. I've actually had students tell me because they're studying here, they have saved up money for studying, and because they studied here, they're actually able to go do their master's degree now because they have money left over. Their parents had saved enough money, and they have money left over to continue their master's degree. Another point is that students were looking for, specifically the parents, but safety. It's pretty safe here. Tennessee Tech is located in a smaller town. If you see the word college town, Tennessee Tech is in a college town. And college town pretty much means the town is touched in various facets by the university. So wherever you go in this town, you'll see a sign that Tennessee Tech students are welcome, and you get a discount, or you get a free drink, or so that also is very, very important to the students. So.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Charlie. That was a great presentation and a lot of great information for students. If you want to contact Charlie again, feel free to reach out to him on Plexuss through the Tennessee Tech University page, and start that process off of being recruited by them through clicking that Get Recruited button. If you have any more questions, you can ask them in the chat. And if you want to apply to Tennessee Tech, there's a link in the description of the video for you to go ahead and do that. If you enjoyed the webinar, make sure you click the like button to support the webinar, and also add us through subscribing to the Plexuss social media channel so that you can be updated whenever we have webinars or videos that come out in the future. And make sure to check out our other webinars that we've hosted in the past that have a lot of great information about other colleges in the US. So that concludes our webinar. Thanks again, and have a great rest of your day.